Example 16 says find the future value of 1 year after 1 year of $680 in an account earning 6.4% interest, simple interest. So what's the idea of the story? You put $680 in an account, you come back a year later, how much money is there? Okay, so future value, again, that's an investment. They want to know what A is, how much money's in the account. My time here is 1 because it's 1 year. My initial investment was $680, and my interest rate was 6.4%, so that would tell me R equals 0.064. That's step 1 of identifying your variables. Step 2, let's actually write out the formula. A equals P times 1 plus RT. Step 3, plug in the information that you know. So that's going to be A equals P, which is 680, times 1 plus R, which is the 0.064, times the T, which is 1 for 1 year. Plug that into your calculator. Let's see what you get. A equals, I'm getting, rounding to the nearest cent, $723.52. That's a reasonable number. It is more than 680, but not ridiculously more, right? A should always be more than P. Perfect. So that's the last of that type of problem. We're going to get into a little bit more difficult of a problem. I want you to pay attention to these last two because I'm guaranteeing you one of these is going to be on the test. It says recall the formula that A equals P plus I. That's if we were going to do it in 2 steps, right? If you want to know how much is in an account, you could calculate the interest, and then to calculate the total amount, you would just add the principal. Well, what they're doing here is that they're doing it a little bit differently. Instead of solving for A or P, they're going to be solving for I using this formula. So when you solve for I, you just subtract P from both sides, and you would end up with the formula I equals A minus P. So if I know my future amount, and I know my initial amount, then I can find how much we paid in interest. For instance, look at the previous problem. My initial amount was $680. My future amount was $723.52. If I subtract those two values, 723.52, the bigger amount, minus 680, the smaller amount, I would end up with $43.52. That means I gained in that year $43.52 in interest. So that's all that formula is saying, nothing too crazy. But let's look at example 17 here. It says the maturity value of a 3-month loan of $4,000 is $4,085. What is the simple interest rate? Remember, the bigger number is always A, the smaller number is always P. So the initial value was $4,000, the future amount was $4,850. This is a 3-month loan. Remember, if they're asking for, they don't know what the simple interest rate is, so they want to know what R is, and we have to assume R is annual in this case. So if R is annual, that means my time has to be annual. So that means my time is 3/12 of a year. 3 months is 3/12 of a year. Again, we have to force our time to be annual. Okay, so what am I going to use? Well, I'm trying to solve for R, right? And the easiest formula to solve for R is I equals PRT. But in order to do that, I need to know what P is. I got that. I need to know what T is. I got that. I need to know what I is, and I don't have that. So this is actually a 2-step problem. The first thing we're going to do is calculate the interest. How do we calculate the interest? We do the total amount, $40.85, minus the initial amount, $4,000. So the first thing we have to do here is identify the variables. The second thing we do is write the formula. Well, the formula we're using is I equals A minus P. So in this case, I would have $40.85 minus 4,000. Okay, so I would have I equals, and that's step 3, plugging in those numbers, right? Step 4, I would get the interest amount, and the interest amount is $85. So a lot of people sit there and say, okay, the answer is 85. Well, no, it's not. 85 is the interest. Reread the problem. What did they want? They didn't want the interest. They wanted the rate of the interest. So what do you have to do to find the rate of the interest? Well, now you need to do step 5, which is use a new formula. Step 6, plug in the numbers we know now. The numbers we know now is I is 85. And let me go ahead and highlight that for you. So we found I equals 85. I'm going to plug that into the formula. So P, the initial amount was 4,000. R, we don't know. And T, we know is 3/12. This is like the problems we did earlier in this section. I'm going to start off by multiplying 4,000 times 3/12 to simplify it. When I do that, I get 85 equals, well, what's 4,000 times 3/12? I'm getting 1,000. So I'd have 1,000 R. I divide both sides by 1,000. And I'm getting R equals 0.085. But remember, that's the decimal version. We need our answer, our rate, and that has to be written as a percentage. This is 8.5%. So there's our final answer right there. This loan was an 8.5% annual simple interest rate formula. Loan. Okay, number 18. Exact same problem, just different numbers. Says the maturity value of a 4-month loan of $9,000 is $92.40. What is the simple interest rate? I encourage you, go ahead and try to do this without me on your own. If you want to follow along, I'm getting T equals 4/12 for months. Has to be in terms of years. The smaller value is always P. The larger value is always A. It wants to know what R is. I'm going to start off by finding the interest. The way that I find the interest is I equals A minus P, the larger minus the smaller. So I'm plugging in those numbers now. That's step 2. So that would be, what, 9240 minus 9,000 in this case. Step 3 is just let's get that answer. I'm off on my step numbers, but that's okay. So I'm getting $240. That's the amount of interest, right? Step 4 is going to be, really this is step 1, so this is really step 5, but that's okay. Now I'm going to use I equals PRT. Next step is I plug in the numbers that I know. Well, I know I is now $240. P is the 9,000. R is just R, and T in this case is the 4/12. I simplify by multiplying 9,000 times 4/12. When I do that, I'm getting, please see what you're getting, I'm getting 240 equals, I'm getting 3,000 R. I divide both sides by 3,000. When I do that, I end up with R equals, and I'm getting 0.08. But again, that's as a decimal. I need to write that as a percentage. So I'm getting a final answer of 8%. Okay. I do want to let you know the biggest, guaranteed a problem like this is on the test. I do want to let you know that the biggest issue that I see on the test is that people do not solve for I first. They actually think this A amount goes in for I. So you do have to solve for I first and then plug I into the formula. A lot of people just try plugging A in and it doesn't work that way. So be very careful. So what do you need to know? What do you want to put on your note card? These are what I would put on my note card without a doubt. I'd put these simple interest formulas on my note card. I equals PRT. I know to find the future amount, I do the initial amount plus the interest. I might have that memorized, so I might not put that one on there. And then I have A equals P times 1 plus RT. That's to find your future amount or your maturity amount. So one of them's to solve for interest, one of them's to solve for the future or maturity value. And then the last one, I equals P minus A. Again, that might be something that I have memorized, so I don't need to put that on my note card, but you do need to know all 4 of those. Okay?